The story of Frank Sutton, remembered by millions as the gruff but lovable Sergeant Vince Carter from the classic sitcom Gomer Pyle, USMC, has long fascinated fans who admired his tough exterior and booming voice. Yet away from the screen, Sutton had his own strong opinions about Hollywood and its many larger-than-life personalities. And over time, he became candid with close friends about the frustrations and rivalries he carried towards several well-known figures in the industry, men he simply could not stand. Among those he reportedly disliked were Marlon Brando, whose method acting style Sutton found pretentious and unnecessarily self-indulgent, believing that Brando's antics overshadowed his genuine talent. James Dean also earned his disdain, with Sutton allegedly complaining that Dean's brooding persona was more marketing than substance, a performance of rebellion rather than authentic depth. He was equally unimpressed by Jerry Lewis, whose slapstick humor and over-the-top antics grated on Sutton, who preferred grounded and disciplined performances, and it was said that Sutton once remarked Lewis was more clown than actor. Steve McQueen, despite his image as the king of cool, rubbed Sutton the wrong way too, as Sutton saw arrogance and aloofness in McQueen that clashed with his own military-style sense of discipline and respect. Ernest Borgnine, though admired by many, was another actor Sutton had difficulty warming to, largely due to clashes in temperament and professional style, with Sutton privately remarking that Borgnine's approach often felt careless. Tony Curtis, whose polished looks and Hollywood charm won him fans, was criticized by Sutton as being more concerned with image than craft, something Sutton, who valued grit and authenticity, found deeply irritating. Lastly, Sutton held little regard for Rod Steiger, an acclaimed actor whose intensity and sometimes abrasive off-screen behavior put them at odds, leading Sutton to dismiss him as unnecessarily difficult. Together, these names formed a list that surprised those who assumed Sutton, a consummate professional, had warm relationships with all his peers. Yet in truth, his military background and strict standards for discipline and authenticity meant he had little patience for what he viewed as ego-driven or unserious behavior. To Sutton, acting was a craft that demanded respect, precision, and humility, and those who in his eyes violated those principles earned his lifelong disdain. Though he never turned these private grievances into public feuds, those close to him said his opinions were unshakable. And it offers fans today a glimpse into the private thoughts of a man who seemed so jovial and booming on screen, but who carried with him strong feelings about the industry he devoted his life to. Tragically, Sutton's career was cut short when he died of a sudden heart attack at only 50 years old, leaving behind not just a legacy of laughter and toughness, but also these candid reflections on Hollywood. Proof that behind every actor lies a personal set of values and judgments that shape their view of colleagues. Whether one agrees with his assessments of Marlon Brando, James Dean, Jerry Lewis, Steve McQueen, Ernest Borgnine, Tony Curtis, and Rod Steiger or not, it is clear that Frank Sutton lived and worked by his own code, and his list of hated actors reveals as much about his character as it does about theirs, showing a man who demanded authenticity and discipline in an industry too often fueled by ego and artifice.